In 2021 I had so much fun doing the guitar we call mellow yellow, or the yellow strat. See how I did that? I decided to repeat this process. This time I flexed my Good Friday discount and we are dealing with extended shipping holiday madness, so yeah, waiting and checking package tracking numbers and going back to sleep for a week and waiting, sigh. But yeah, it was cheap, so I shan't complain lest I appear to suffer a lack of sanity. Madness whereas they sting. Ting ting ming ming and tonk tonk, why have you forsaken me? One hand stuck in the business end of a lawnmower that belongs to a tiny little church in Hancock Springs, of all imaginary places. And no furry little beasts to appear and rescue me. Just this one skinny black cat who seems to be enjoying an everlasting acid trip that is his life here with the duo. Poor lil guy. Life on the road, 200 guitarers. BOMP. Diving deeply into the plasma pool with your huge butts. No one would ever accuses you of being lazy-eyed reader. Of course I have gotten dressed to go completely out of my mind, because there is no room for the fickle. When you hold the pickle, hold the lettuce, baby, the S-type squires don't upset us. Wunderpits, place your bets. Kita H. Bobita, is he smiling? He must be me as I am he and we is all together topping that fast food chain. Going after the 15-volt bipolar rails on this crazy pain in the ass project. I am losing the will to sleep. Why eat when you can constantly keep refreshing your meal of megabytes at the Chano shipping and ripping and tripping and dipping customer service cafe? If they knew what these drones were after I could log into package tracker and set the controls for the heart of what a fun project this is to redone can S-type. Again, but this time, it's a honky. Now you know me Chinese, me play joke, me make basic original instrumental, rockish, music, and you're no Coke, Pepsi ride the wave file that under flunky monkey group of junkies that are the poor man's MR bungle, the red hot rapey rapers because the firstborn unicorn had a ham bone, the bone of ham, that ham of bone appa S-type skunk stripe aroma, the San Franciscan treat yourself to hold the mothergakin phone, it's the stonky man, mama it's that crazy poopy fart. Lighting man in his UFO drone again, what's that sound you cry and cry? He has range mastered the screech tone, crank up DOS mids, turn down the bass, turn up the treble, what you talkin' bout Willis, trade your crack rock for this pebble and wham thank you Mr. Margera, Kemp reconstruct yourself using VY digital blockage where you may wear a little glove, when you do a little dance, what's that you say? There's a white squire in your pants. No Coke, a Pepsi. That's the thing about some people, when it comes to guitars, bet your fenders they only want Les Pauls? Wait a minute, reverse that. Note to Slef, horn drum roll fanfare. The White Strat Project, Squire Straits, Whitey Bulger's return, the last Wango Tango in Downers Grove. Yes, not just John Anderson's great prog band that video killed the radio star, but I would be a Mr. Bugle fan to not promptly inform you all that I have in fact made significant progress, but also, I must be frank, I have waited for these packages to trickle over from Chickeny, China. In DOS meantime, I have never been on TikTok, truth. But the sentiment I am well accustomed to ticking and toking, waiting and news flash, you've got mail. Your package is still sitting at the sorting depot until customs can pull its head out of the chasm of despair and lost parcels, delivered to the neighbor's building, which is literally on a completely different street address. WTF Chano? And guess what's on the menu? There is more waiting to come, but it's not the hardest part. The hardest part is trying to play the godforsaken thing when you are missing half the business ends of your Fingy bitgets. Glass is half a empty, glass a half full. There is a whole lot of roll but just a little bit of rock, not nearly enough to go around, but way more than I need. In all reality I am blessed to be messed, so we have no excuse but to try to ignore my reality, being preaching to the choir and performing to the crickets. Hurry up and wait for your nose to finally hit the grindstone, and boop. Time's up, close her up. Light up the incense, turn on the electric fence. The mail's not coming till Tuesday because it is JoJo the Zappy Zap Man Day and these is no school or mail on National Zappy Day. The cheap police are inside of my head. Who needs to sleep when you can stare at Chano bill of lading informing you of much more waiting? Making copies? Going to Home Depot to pick up a couple dozen kilos of uncut Peruvian flake? Or is your lemonade stand really a non-profit organization under the guise of the Church of the Latte de Aints, serving a diabetes-friendly version of Mountain Dew that's caffeine-free but somehow really hits the spot, if you are a gamer? I saw this kooky YouTube video about satanic bizcore. A true believer, a follower of Christ has no biz anywhere near a Starbucks coffee outlet. Wait a minute, reverse that. We are the dreamers of dreams, and we are the makers of music. Or wait minute, reverse that too. You see, I really am all about stet draw cabs, I'd lot. My favorite Wonka line of all time. As of now, yes, we have the neck dyed, using alcohol-based leather dye, Heek. I chose orange/yellow. The idea is to simulate the amber color that an aged nitrocellulose finish will do when it ages. It turns pumpkin orange, I tell ya, and it's a sight to see. Some of the older guitars have this orange color neck, and it gives me a massive erection. I had planned to do this dyeing of the neck to change it pumpkin orange trick, but then the actual guitar, when we won the auction, it turned out the neck was not ghostly white, like the Squier Strats usually are. When the guitar actually arrived, I was shocked at the finish of the neck. It was like a baked Alaskan smoky maple dream. This 2000 Chinese Squier S-type guitar has a dark and rich looking neck wood, with a skunker stripe, but it wasn't really pumpkin colored or amber. It was however dark and pleasing. But it wasn't pumpkin. Which is what I have in mind. So enter the never before performed goofy sounding dye job I saw on a YouTube video. So this is what I was very nervous about, this not working well, so I performed preliminary dye testing on a patch of the neck that is concealed in the neck pocket. Ultimately, in my eyes, I think it looks fantastic, and as a bonus it has much more character, on the front side showing the grain of the wood in a darker accents of the dye, which it matches the natural lines and relief of the headstock's lines. Really going to look great when I put the water slide decal and the tuning machines on it. I cannot wait to see this guitar finished. There is no way it can live up to my expectations. I have been tripping so hard on this, rethinking every detail and then waiting, then actually getting to do the work, so I have been relishing it. The actual minute time where I am getting to actually do some work instead of checking shipping reports and seeing your package has arrived at the land of the chimichangas guys and taking it slowly and slowing it down there a bit, partner. Down here we do things in our own time. Down here you are gonna fucking die waiting for your part. Looking at professionally relic reissue guitars in similar finishes and then authentic early 60s white Strats online, and drooling as it is a very good looking Strat if you nail the recipe. No one ever has apparently. So far the body is completely done, finished in a matte clear coat, plus I finally have actual clear and matte finish on the neck, over the dyed wood, and everything had proper cure times, and sanding in between, so it just looks like an aged amber finish neck pumpkin color. What I had in mind to the color it is now is to a T the exact color match. Hue sigh of relief, and yes. I like it. We have classy matte finish on the back of the neck, it's slick and not very thick. And wow does that feel good, but the headstock is going to be redone thick shiny gloss finish, with several coats over and under the fender water slide decals. None of this SQUEIR bikesness on my guitars, lol. I am leaving the neck plate stock and it says Squier, so yeah, that and the serial number and made in China are intact on the mellow yellow, aka the yellow Strat that I did in 2021. That one cost us $56, teehee. I am waiting on eBay to deliver the water slide decals from Wisconsin, so it may not be too bad of a wait. Then after that point I will be able to finish off the neck and install the tuners and string trees, but it is already drilled out and we dry fitted everything, so it is a-okay, including a white tusk pre-lubed nut which fit perfectly, after sanding 0.05 mm off each side as it was a smidge wide. That's the 5000-00 part number for a Squier, not the 5000 to 10. I am pretty good with part numbers when they are so simple like that. After string trees / nut install, I got standard nickel finish vintage tuners with nickel vintage style, fingers crossed never used Fleepogerps brand, and I had to special ordered metal conversion bushings. As surprise, the tuners came with 8 mm and this neck was ported at 10 mm. It is always the other way around in my past experience, but hey, what do I know? Not much. LOL, it never ends with PD just screwing pooches everywhere. Piles of dead beagles. From PD. Waiting for months, UFOs are invading, earthquakes, Jesus damn birthday come and goes, having to reorder stuff and wait for customs and Chano to deliver the packages to the neighbors 2 buildings down. Because PD assumed it was one thing, but apparently it is the exceptions make the rules at Fender, so. Have a Merry Christmas. For string trees, I am face palming and waffling. Will PT2 use the roller trees, or the chrome chunk 45 angle with the tiny wheels sprouting out of the top sides? Those that actually are not wheels, it's just the molded chrome appearing like the tiny wheels that can turn, but they do not as they are molded one piece, tricky in your coke. If that makes sense, but good old King Carly had this style and they looks period correct, I think, or maybe these are just more used in the 70s. I guess I am going for a 63 vibe. What does a 67 look like, lol? This one, I swear it is an actual style of string tree that Fender used, unless I am smoking crack. My buddy's pre-CBS Natural Strat had those trees, and yes, I love the way they look cool, but because of the faux wheel, does not keep on tin effect goose, who will also need to freaking lube them with a mixture of graphite powder and lip balm that we call Big Ben's nut sauce, which this sounds like something used in a pornography. Just in case I do not like this goofy string tree design or it presents drag, I have nickel finish, large modern style roller string trees that I know work great, then also some sharper looking two-tone flat black bass with chrome roller trees, so I can choose and will pick the two-tone for sure, unless the black on the headstock is now clashing with the rest of the nickel. Guitars are tricky to me, one thing off a slight shade tint or color and it all goes in the trash. I never see perfect guitar, I rarely see one that appeals to. Most of them make my stomach churn. Including ones I have seen other people customize. Typically they get black everything and then chrome skull knobs with red plastic gemstone eyes for the skulls. That's gonna get you some leg tonight. I sat there for a half hour and removed the tiny Allen fasteners from the brass saddles, all 12 of them, and replaced them with flat black Allen head fasteners out of a chrome set of stock K-Squire hardware that was like so thin and puny this metal they use on the stock Squire saddle is like a parody joke, like is this for reals? LOL. This guitar honkus, purely for looks, every decision is purely based on looks with this honky 6 of a fee of a 6 of a 9. Imagine chrome fasteners on brass vintage saddle, looks silly standing next to brass with flat black Allen hardware, right? Hush yo mouth, just talking about the honkus. This honky guitar project, the 63, is it? I need a good nickname for it, like the last Squire fiasco, when I purchase one of these fine budget instruments in lovely black and white and then proceeded to strip, refin, and generally completely ruin them. All of the choices are made with one singular quotient in mind, one factor that presides: it is all about how it looks. For PD's Squires, not so much just functionality. When you play a half a note every 2 minutes, then have to pull that up a half step to pretend you meant it. Or down for the blue note gags. Things like performance have very little defined merit. My wife recently made a list, to see how many guitars that I have. Am I remembering incorrectly, or? She didn't count the basses, just PD's guitars, and we are not going to be divulging any numbers here because we make music, we do not measure reproductive organs. The number is not high, it is actually just what one would expect it to be, considering I am such a massive tool/looser. It's way less than one would consider, and gee, I could use a lot more. There is always room for more strats, and why yes, we most indubitably have a just few here, a few of this same S-style guitar, including a rarish semi-hollow body S-type rebuilt with all the killer no-filler components, in natural walnut or darker finish, thanks to internet influencer/tastemaker consultant to the stars Jimmy Photon. This one is the one and one plus only, the beginning, the ender, the raka, the rolla, the one-eyed one-horn flying Ayatollah master spellcaster, viewing through the eye of hungry tigers. Behold, we will bring you honkin' stizzle 60 bizzle whizzle grizzle brizzle stiz. Moment of silence please, to let this reality sink in. Breathe deep. The plan was to hit a perfect, or golden ratio, a divine-inspired flawless mixture for the ages to echo down through time and inspire the elders and youth of tomorrow away from the lust for the black S-type with white single-ply pickguard and an alpine white headstock/neck. If the color profiles used in the AliExpress auction photos are indeed closer to reality than we are accustomed to, then and precisely just then the glorious bells will begging to ring in the streets and echo down to the fair maiden and the fat kitties and treat spoiled beasts that scour the nether. Then and boldy then we and they shall all them this day truly and with much rejoicing shall then sing of its glories, take of the trumpets filled with the new wine and dance in the barren streets in the shadow of the ashes of Sam, and in the valley of the center of guitars, there will be weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth of him who taketh part of the Gibson, the Chibson. The phone of AP will reek a stench of the tiny sad man who pisseth down his own well and hopes for the day of reckoning of the G string to be swift, and of a 440 will be the A. This will then reflect upon thine a most perfect of union of the trio of the three, with one of them being a divine FLAC file or MP3 insightfully programmed by one another using sorcery known as a DAW, because only fools and horses utter foolishness such as lawlessness is to be damned and great foolishness. For our Father in his divine wisdom has foreseen in his everlasting grace and undenying wisdom to establish a perfect union of the sanctimonious number of two. The great and greatest greatness has unburdened both from the swine flesh of the Hoken, the two souls shine down past the shadows cast by the fingers of three. Yeah, they surely have risen above in greatness, and a most joyful and triumphant noise has delivered from the scourge that is trap, and any cursed scourge which rises forth from the foulest number 0f8 0 and 8. Lo, and yet I saith unto thou asses, does he not deliver you from the snare of the fowler? Does he not deliver you from such great folly and foolishness as the need plebshippery, also known as the cursed type of crack-smoking girlfriendless loser which has just been fired from his jobeth of delivery from the pizzas, in need to seek refuge at the sanctuary of milk of the poppy or Methodonia, commonly known as a drummer. Though he lay in wait, in scheming to take anything of a crumb behest from the stalest of crumb, this drummer is dumb and dumber than a large sackcloth of rocks. He is skinny yet rotund and fatty, in his gluttonous heart full of the crack he smoked and stolen from another man's pustules. His shoe shineth not, for he is a square, yet he is round like the drum that he beats. You will wish upon his own head. This rock of crack is how he is fed. As this drummer knows one thing, and this is his for the taking, without any toil and sweat from his brow. But his sup will be scarce and bitter when he lights his faint fart in the darkness. He will sit covered in his own foul liquids, very much hungry and wet, smelling most offensively as a barn of many number of swine, like the tale in the book of Skynard of Leonard. Of this smell he will reeketh, and on the head of many chicken he does geekth, but nary will the gaseous explosion betwixt the legs of this foul beast shall there be but a poot, of the smallest tiny cymbal so wee, and not of a drum, because even when farting this stupid fucking drummer just makes his pee. The matte white, the mint of the green, in a plating of which dwells the finest brass of the alloy. This most elusive recipe will form the unseen, and fair maidens speak and profess of the holiest perfection. This great and mightiest balance of the three and many more innumerable factors will combine in a glorious visual feast for the ages. Hungry? Between the off or matte white finish on the body, the mint green pickguard, and then aged or vintage yellow plastic, so pickup covers, knobs, switch tip, tremolo arm tip, etc. The guitar has a ebony-looking fretboard that is dark. I am not going for tan or cream on the plastic, rather than muted yellow or aged white, not tan not white, in between, like muted yellow. It's muted yellow, pale green, matte white and pumpkin neck, with a very smooth and slick feeling matte finish on the back of the neck, yet thick gloss on the headstock front and rear, with inner silver spaghetti Fender waterslide decal that has the patent number for the tremolo. That's what I chose. It all has to jive in order for this to work. I have never seen it IRL or in a photo. I have seen stuff that's close. I want to use nickel not chrome, vintage tuners. I would like brass vintage saddles, but I may go with modern brass saddles. That would be the clincher. If I go with modern saddles, the jig is up. I will use black pickup guard screws, black fasteners all the way around. I may have a push-pull put to kick on a woman tone cap. I would like to try to shift the resonant peak of the bridge single coil, Fleer Alnico 5, to the lower mid, like a Frank Zappa Cocteau sound, but maybe a bit more subtle. Kind of like Robert Fripp used to roll back his tone and use a Baldwin fuzz tone. Play these drones like about shit. I am going cloth push-back wire. I may very well mod the wiring to have a bridge tone control using a .010100V Sprague orange drop capacitor. So it would be like a 1 MFD or an additional .47 that I would wire in on a push-pull. The other option is to bypass everything on the push-pull. I have a tendency to accidentally roll the master volume down when we play two songs. It happens, and it EFFs me up badly. So I have to see. It may end up being a process, as it is for me when I mod a guitar. The yellow Strat took about 18 months to settle into what it is now. This white guitar, which I may be nicknaming this one Honky, I was hoping to think everything through, and then just do it. But it may require some tinker time as well as settling in and testing. I do have cloth push-back wire and massive brass potentiometers. 250 kb because yeah, I am so fucking lame, right? Old Yeller has 500k pots in a H-burr in the bridge, so this one, I am going to keep it a Strat. So I ordered vintage saddles. I have to see. Don't get excited, I will more than likely chump out and put the modern ones on, but I have chrome, heavy ones. I have two sets of feather white BS Squire stock saddles that they purposely make so thin and lame to make the Squire suck. I have chrome rollers, heavy modern chrome, modern brass and fancy chrome rollers. More than likely it will be try the vintage but then chicken out and install the vintage style, but I am going brass. It has a brass block. I did a tusk nut. I chose a white one as I said it's all about looks. I did fill the truss rod port in with a flat black today. I did that, and then I saw it on a video about how to tell a Squire from a legit Fender Strat. Hey now. I had a gold looking spaghetti logo, the thin headstock waterslide decal, that was left over from when I did Old Yeller they give ya too. Well, that second waterslide was bad. It sat here for 4 years in an envelope and it got funky somehow. Initially it had the ink was running on it, like it looked like it had a pink halo. I really tried to use it as I really don't want to spend when I don't have to, but it was rippled, and it tore in 2 places, and even when I tamped it down it had visible peaks and valleys. Even though it was stored flat under a toolbox, in an envelope. I have the 20 size potentiometers, or whatever they are, twice as big as the 10s, or maybe they are 27 millimeters, but I also have a single brass push-pull, for the switch mod. Like I said, it will end up being a bypass for the vol and tone control, like bridge pickup turbo mode, or I will see if I can replicate a cocked wah tone by moving the resonant peak of the bridge PU to a mid-hump. I plan to extend the tone cap externally by running some extension wire to a DP-DT that has sockets soldered to its terminals so I can hot swap and audition capacitors. This way I can determine if this idea is silly. If that's a no-go, the mod can become the turbo, or I could consider phase reversal or bypass a treble bleed circuit. I have never used a treble bleed mod. I have been tempted to try it, but every time I Google it, I spend 6 hours reading and change my mind through that process. The only thing I have not considered to replace is the output jack, and the 5-way switch. The thing is, I ordered stuff tonight, which means, probably no way will that make it here from China by Christmas. Which is fine. I am in no hurry on this one. I will be recording an album of all original music, to drop in late February, so I do have studio time booked. Then there will be video editing for a week, and before you know it I will be charging up the 18,650s for a remote. Last night I woke at 5 AM with a melody, so I fired up the PC and we have a new song. It's more of the same stuff though, but I like the melody a lot. No surprises. It's a nice addition to this collection I have been building. We will be playing the same material next summer. Maybe I will go back and grab some stuff from 2019 to 2022, like a song off Slow Malone, or an old doo-wop instant classic. I want to play Fireman's Waltz and Old Number 57 very badly. The idea is to put together the most entertaining set. Mind you, there is a shortage of high-gain tones. This is mellower stuff in a sense. At some point, when we get tired of playing through a boosted range master, I will switch gears, break out the double bass drum kit and write a bunch of metal instrumental pieces, or hard and heavy rock. Or not. People seem to really like that. But what can I say if I feel like chicken tonight? It's not going to be Mongolian beef. The thing is, this guitar arrived, I was like bowled over at the quality of this one. The last one is great, yes, I have been playing it exclusively since 21. But this one was made 10 years prior, in China, but cheese oh Pete, the feel of the neck, the finish, which is all gone now lol, this Squire was unlike any I have ever seen. The neck is rolled over, it's not white as a sheet, it was dark like bird's eye looking maple neck. Now after I dyed it pumpkin colored and applied this subtle matte finish, this neck rippity rips. All of this is hypothesis. I never played the guitar with fresh strings. It came with a set of Rustarts, and I immediately tore the guitar apart. I will know when it's cured, and when I reassemble it I will be giving it adjustments and virtually setting it up, or adjusting everything to its optimal as I go. I have 2 different types of tremolo springs. One OS soft, one is firm. I only have 2 of the softies though. I plan to use heat shrink tubing and internal cotton pack to silence them. The stock claw is cheesy, I have a beefier claw, but I really want to splurge and treat myself to a brass one, but I can't find the style I want in the 29mm size. So this is the type of information that has been keeping me from sleeping every night. I might fall asleep for 15 minutes, but I usually get up at 5 AM and play a little bit. Maybe do some more work on this project. There has been a lot of time looking at parts and ordering stuff. I got everything on Good Friday discount, and then some holiday discounts. I get everything direct from China, so I have to wait 3 weeks or even more for customs and shipping. The orange-yellow alcohol-based leather dye for the neck was the worst item I ever had for shipping delay. And now I am screwing the pooch by last-minute jack ordering stuff right before ol' Saint Nick furs up the traffic jam. Oh well. Hopefully the drones/aliens will like our music more than the human beings do. We don't play other people's music because that's the lamest thing I know of, next to not playing at all. That is worse to me. People who play covers are cowards. That's one of the things that is on my bucket list, is to jam some originals or make up some new original, improvisational music with alien species, get one of those lil gray suckers on the drum kit, or heck they can even play synth, but no singing crap, and Gomti is already on the bass, and I am on the 6, so no way Jose with the funny ideas, dang aliens.